Hello and welcome to another episode of the Zion Experience, or TZE as we call it. And I'm your host or co-host, Jimmy Shaw. I've got my partner in crime, Jordan Frank, with me. And we always take a moment to welcome you. If you're a returning subscriber, returning listener, we just thank you for spending a little bit of time with us. We appreciate it. It's you all are why we do this show. It's to educate, to learn, to share, to meet interesting people. And we've got an interesting one today that we're excited to share with you. Here in a minute, I'm going to introduce Mansoor, our guest. And the other thing is, if I lost my train of thought, Jordan, I told you, see, I need a script, and I refuse to use one. So if this is your first time listening to us, wherever you're listening, just hit the subscribe button. Feel free to give comments. We drop one of these about every other week, and we just would like to hear from you. We'd like to know who's out there. And if your first time, you can find the audio version form of this pretty much anywhere a podcast is. And if you're listening this audio and you want to watch the video, we upload that on YouTube. So without that, this is the Zion Experience, and the topic of this show is the CSCS and the state of the supply chain. So we're going to talk with Mansoor, who's an entrepreneur, a good person, started his own software business. He does a lot more than just software. He's in the solutions business, and I'm going to let him introduce a little bit more about CSCS when he gets there. And so let me go a little bio of who Mansoor is. So Mansoor is an entrepreneur in the digital supply chain thought leadership space. He is the founder and CEO of Cloud Supply Chain Solutions, where he creates industry-leading software as a service-based product innovations. Mansoor started CSCS in January of 2020 and has been running the company ever since. Before CSCS, Mansoor was in the industry for 20 plus years, and he gained a wealth of knowledge that he ultimately brings to CSCS and to the table. We're excited and grateful. I consider Mansoor a friend. We've spent some time together over the last couple of years. We've been on a similar journey with CSCS and Zion, and we've got a common person in David Quintilio, Leverage Supply Chain Group, that's also a partner, and we're just happy to have you. So Mansoor, I tried to introduce you, my friend, and appreciate your words and your kind words. And what did we miss out? I think one of the interesting parts of your story is, how did you end up in Atlanta, Georgia? What brought you to the United States? What brought you to the industry? I think we talked about it maybe earlier, or maybe I'm bringing it up again, but we talked about just logistics and the supply chain and intralogistics in general is this vast, different group of people and cultures, but it's really an international business. And I'm always fascinated by how people are drawn to it, why they got in it, and what they do in it. So I'll turn it over to you to give us just a little bit about Mansoor and where you grew up and why you're here. And yeah.
Yep. Thank you very much. Yeah, sure. Originally from India, did my bachelor's and master's in computer applications in India. And then, got an opportunity to work in a pretty good company as part of an initial breakthrough, which ended up sending me to Australia. So I ended up living in Australia for about 3 years. There was a Olympic project in the year 2000. That was my first official international assignment from India. I enjoyed my stay in Australia. I pretty much covered the entire region except Tasmania. But I used to work as a developer, Java developer in banking and insurance domain. It wasn't to do with supply chain. So my first 3 years of career went with banking and insurance. Frankly speaking, I never enjoyed that business domain as such. I'm a math guy. I like numbers, but I like the permutation and combination. I like puzzles. I like variations. And second thing, growing up in India and computer industry, there's always an aspiration to come to US. I was looking for an opportunity in the US. That's when I got a job in Manhattan Associates, an Atlanta-based company, a supply chain company, where they were looking for some developers and they were looking to grow the team. And I was fortunate enough to get the job. Came to US in 2004, landed in Boston. That was my first welcoming United States welcoming port, I would say. And then from there onwards, I was working in Arkansas, Bentonville with Walmart for almost 6 years. It's a good 6 years of my US welcoming was in Bentonville. All right. And so
you came to Boston, and then you ended up in Bentonville, Arkansas. So
yeah,
you got the full American experience almost. All you
Almost.
need to do, you need to get to California at some point, and then you've kind of
Right.
hit all of it.
Are you saying that Boston and Arkansas aren't similar? Are those two different types of people between Boston and Arkansas?
For me, at that point of time, everybody is a different type of people because I'm
Yeah.
It's true.
so I can't comment on it. But yeah, now if you ask me, it's a different story. But at that point of time, it's all new land, new people, new language, new accent, and all that. So, what Walmart, as such, like I always talk about that experience because the amount of the complexity from a systems and the volume which I experienced as a developer gave me the so-called maturity or what's happening to your two lines of code when it is put through that kind of a bigger volume. That was a big eye opener. I would say from a career growth where definitely the word maturity is probably the right I can think in my head right now because that gave me a lot of learning aspect of seeing things in a different way. And I also got got back to back promotions, and it was a very limelight project in the company. And then it was very tough days, but it's all worth it. And then moved back to Georgia, or moved to the head office officially in 2009, to the Atlanta head office of Manhattan, and from there, I'm a Georgian now, so I'm been living here in Georgia. I got married in between that Walmart journey in 2006, so we have four kids now in the matter of the marriage years, and yeah, so I've been living in Georgia, and then from speaking of the domain, once I got the gist or the taste of the supply chain challenges and what kind of variations it can bring, uh, I I was like, I'm completely sold in that I'm not going to be working in any other business domain other than supply chain. Okay,
That's
so that's
awesome.
that's a quick journey in terms of what I did in Manhattan, and then coming back to starting this company, Cloud Supply Chain Solutions. It's almost 15, 16 years of Manhattan, with various experience with Home Depot and all others. I was always looking to do something beyond what I was doing in my previous role. That's one aspect. Second aspect was also the technology. There was a lot of cloud was getting popular in the market. Microservices, spinning up an enterprise quality application is not that expensive like how it used to be. It's easier. It's much scalable and possible kind of an option. And then on top of it, I also started working on few nonprofit organizations as I was living in Georgia, and started getting the exposure to certain underprivileged communities, be it refugees, be it different people, where as a person growing up, it helped me start appreciating what we have when you see the other people who don't have some of that. And then it kind of created a more sincerity or a more moral responsibility of the fact that, okay, I think the people who got a bigger responsibility to role to play, to offer some of the benefits and some of the luxuries which the others are not having. And I end up spending some more time and more voluntary hours and some financial assistance and collaborations and all that. Long story short, that also gave me an idea that I think if I wanted to create a bigger impact, I may have to have more flexibility and more decision making authority to decide your own destiny. And so that added up to the rest of the other opportunity, and then the personal change that end up becoming an entrepreneur and trying to start something.
Gotcha. It's pretty cool. I had said in the beginning that you had a similar journey to us. I think it came from different, I'll call it a crucible or catalyst as to why you ended up starting CSCS and why we ended up starting Zion. But one of the things I think you and I connected on immediately is just the purpose, right? We talk about it a lot. Is like, what is the purpose? You got to have a purpose if of why you have a business, what it is. And I think we're very similar. We're in the middle of trying to put our words down and define our purpose, and we've got it pretty much worked out. And I've got where's my coin? I don't have it, but it's basically, Jordan, help me with this, is to make a positive impact on the lives of those that we touch. Is just, what do we do every day when we wake up? We want to help good people, work with good people, inspire good people, be inspired by good people, and just, we just happen to do that in the business side and building systems and material handling equipment and putting up racking. But it's still, at the end of the day, it's like we have a purpose to go out and help others.
Exactly.
And we just chose to help them with steel and conveyor and software and systems. And you too are, your trade is developing and code and helping people in terms of how they make their systems stronger and how they solve complex supply chain solution problems. So it's pretty cool. Remind us, we'll have to get at the end. I'll tell you about our Acts of Kindness Foundation. Jordan and I can share. We got something cool going on there. You may have something neat going on. We're about to do more of a global I shouldn't say global. We're going to do a fundraising campaign.
Okay.
That we hope we can inspire some of the business community to come alongside us to raise some additional funds for this organization that we've just been drawn to. Good people that are making an impact in the world.
Knowing you, Jim, without even knowing a whole lot of details about that fund, count me already in. I would like to volunteer and I like to participate, whichever capacity it is in. Just count us in. I'm in for that.
Gotcha. Cool. So how many kids we got? I know you had one new one last year, right? So how old are our 4 kids?
Yeah, so I have a good wide range of kids. My elder daughter, she is almost turning 16 next month.
Oh boy.
And the other daughter, she's turning 14 in another couple of months. So they're 2 teenagers who are in high school and middle school. And then my son, third kid, he is getting into middle school. He's 11. And then we also have a newborn who's still running in diaper. He's about 10 months. So I have all range, 2 girls and 2 boys. And the girls are in early 16 and early 14. And then the boy is in 11. And then the younger boy is 10 months.
Gotcha. And I was telling Jordan earlier, where was home in India? So we visited. Jordan can jump in here in a minute. He got an experience. We both got to experience Delhi with our partners. I'm about to say Softion, but Adverb. And we went over I'll let Jordan tell the story, but where was home in India? And you still have some people, part of your business is, part of the team still is in India, right?
Exactly. I'm from the southern part of India. And then for folks, generally India between north and south is there's a lot of big difference in terms of culture, language, and the landscape and everything. So I'm from the southern part of India, a state called Tamil Nadu, a city called Chennai. That's my hometown. And but the offshore team which we have built is in another city in the same state called Coimbatore. It also had a literal nickname during British period as the South Indian Manchester because of the weather and because of the cotton industry. The city is called Coimbatore, and that's where our offshore dev center is. And then we do have some consultants who work across from a remote engagement, and they are pretty much all over India. So
Gotcha.
My tech team is in Coimbatore physical office. My functional and consultant team is across. They work remote.
Yeah, and that leads me. I know, Mansoor, it's interesting hearing your background, and we do have stories about India that we could certainly share. We had a trip there earlier this year. It was definitely a trip I won't forget. But just to take a minute, because I know that you and Jimmy do talk a lot, but just take a minute and explain kind of CSCS. What do you do? Where do you focus? Where do you provide the most value? Just kind of in your words, to give everyone an opportunity to understand more about cloud supply chain solutions.
Thank you. Yeah. So cloud supply chain solutions is it's kind of a twofold, I would say. One is the consulting wing, where we help customers who are already signed up with various flagship products like Manhattan or Blue Yonder. We have done Info implementations. We are also getting into the Softion side of the implementation. So customers who are either on the journey of implementing Manhattan WMS, TMS, Blue Yonder, Softion, any of that products, our consulting team, both seniors and juniors, onshore or offshore, we get deployed. We help them do the configurations, data setup, figure out the solution designing aspect of it, work with the integration side of it. Consultants goes and takes care of it all the way from solution designing all the way till taking it to go live, replicating it to other distribution centers, taking it to production, taking it all the way till managing the production support, AMS support, application manager support. So we do that whole 9 yards of it. We work very hand in hand with the customers, sometimes with the software providers like Manhattan and Blue Yonder, and we work with the rest of the IT team of the customer in terms of integrations. And in that journey, there are any additional gaps which cannot be addressed. We try to address within the ecosystem of the customer. So that's one side of our core offering of cloud supply chain solution that we started doing from day one of our existence. But 2 years later, being the technical guy or the technical background, a couple of years later into the journey, we also spin up our R&D and a product development team division. That's the division which focuses on addressing some of those identified gaps, which are typically result of multiple systems in a place, meaning customer is using a TMS from a vendor, a WMS from another vendor, or maybe they're using a TMS and WMS, but still there are certain business workflows which are not covered completely for the business by these two systems. But in order to run the end-to-end business, customers still need to have those depth features. We have taken that as our opportunity or a challenge, and we've addressed them using cloud native applications, made them API friendly, made them cloud native, cloud them easy to integrate. And since we know these black boxes, which are not black box for us, Manhattan, Blue Yonder, and all that, so we started building the adapters with those applications and started addressing those gaps. And that gaps are part of visibility, part of enabling some optimization. And we added, now with the AI, we started adding a lot of AI color code to it, where AI is coming into picture, be it generative AI, be it other algorithms which are offered. So we started putting AI color to those applications on top of it. So basically cloud native, now they are AI enabled, they are easy to integrate with that ecosystems, and those solutions are offered to the customers either on deployment model or on a SaaS model. But the area of focus is predominantly logistics and warehouse management, some amount of order management, but mostly the systems around these two business domains within the subvertical of supply chain. That's what
no, thank you. So you kind of have two, it's one company, but kind of two different strategies. One is that consultant approach of helping them with a tier one or a large WMS implementation. Could that be a greenfield or a brownfield? Do you guys focus on both areas, or is it more so new installations, or where do you guys mainly focus on the consultant side?
Perfect. We had, thank God, we had customer experiences on all the flavors. We have done greenfield implementation, which starts from the beginning. In fact, we have also had engagements where we help customer making those technical decisions. Right? Does it make sense for your inventory to go with Blue Yonder or Manhattan? Does it make sense for you to do a custom build or go with this version of the application, right? So we have also had the opportunity to serve customers, to help them sometimes make that initial decisions. And then we've also had opportunities to implement where they've already made the decisions. We went there, partnered with them, and we did the whole solution design and taken that implementation. And we have also had experience where they are in the later stage, struggling with their ongoing implementation. One of the reference from Jim, in fact, we went there and we took care of it, and then we streamlined the rest of the implementation then and help them go live.
Got it. So to put you on the spot a little bit, Mansoor, so when we think about pitfalls or reasons that people would come to you, so as an example, as a systems integrator, what we have found in the industry is with the introduction of robotics, there's been a direct sales model from a lot of these robotics companies. People look at it, it's a product, they recognize that it's a product. There's a formula to say, if it's a goods to person system, how many totes do I need and how many robots do I need? So it's easy for people to comprehend that, hey, that's a product and they can source it from me. So they start going direct. But some of the pitfalls that people have realized is that they don't think about the ancillary processes, either feeding or coming away from that goods to person technology. You can't treat anything in the facility or a warehouse as an island. It's really one big piece of processes and equipment that all needs to run seamlessly. And we saw where that was starting to get lost with the introduction of some of these robotic companies. So as a systems integrator, our go-to-market strategy is really helping bring all these different areas together. So a pitfall we commonly see is, hey, I went out and I talked to this robotics company and they sold me this, but I can't get my full use out of it because I can't get the inventory in it. I can't take it away fast enough. So in your world, on the WMS side, what are some of the things that you see or that are either common mistakes or reasons to partner with CSCS?
Yep. So this, as you mentioned, like it's a very common challenge. Unfortunately, customers are not able to think through or not thinking it through in those decision makings. So we call a simple triangle, which is the core element of any value add of your systems. First aspect is integration, right? People talk about visibility, they talk about visibility platform, dashboards, all the data. But if that visibility platform is colorful, but if it does not have the right connected data, right translated and transformed data on a timely manner, that visibility is of no use to them. So the core challenge is connecting the various systems and their data and their exchange documents in the right format in a timely manner. So we solve the triangle, we start the triangle with the integration solve, right? Once the integration is in place, now we can enable the visibility portion of that data. So now what you see is the real data, right? You're seeing on time, and then you make it colorful, you make it all others, dashboards, snowflakes, and all that. That's the secondary aspect. But we enable the integration so that the visibility is real. And we close the triangle once you have the integrated data and once you see what is happening in a timely manner. Now we have our optimization solutions kicks in, where now we can say, hey, here you're spending more, you can reduce your transportation cost by doing this. Here there are certain delays happening, you can increase this speed of delivery by doing this, right? So integration visibility exposes the opportunities, and then we address some of those opportunities using our optimization solutions, and then we further do that. And going back to your question on robotics and all that, the biggest challenge I've seen in WM implementations or any of the automation implementation is that often the core products and solutions are really good by themselves, but they are dependent on the rest of the players or rest of the systems in the ecosystem, right?
Right.
If you don't have the right communication strategy or an integration means, then they won't be able to get the real value to the business, what they're spending on.
Yeah. I mean, we're actually working on a project right now that we were asked to come in late to the game because they already had a design, they had some software picked out, and they really wanted us to help from a project management standpoint. And we had some conversations with them, and one of the biggest conversations we had was around the software. And the way that we approach it, and I'm sure this is common in the industry, is, we look at it, there's WMS, there's WES, there's WCS, there's confusion of what any of those mean. At the end of the day, you can put whatever acronym you want. You just got to identify who's handling what. And to me, there's a straightforward way. As an example, if whatever system's handling the inventory in my mind should be handling the waving, the batching, the picking. So a lot of times that falls into the WMS realm.
Yeah.
So what we told them is when we look at a WMS, it's the conductor of the orchestra, right? You need that one person. And I know we're not the only ones that say that. It's a common acronym, or not acronym, but whatever
Description.
whatever it would be called. You know what I'm saying? It's a common thing, but it's real. And people don't understand that. But when you start thinking about an orchestra and all the different elements you have to create one fluid song, the warehouse is the same way, right? You've got all these different pieces and you need that one person, that one system that can connect everything. And my last comment, I'll turn it back over to Jimmy because I am taking up too much airtime, is when it comes to the reporting and dashboards, I'm going to give Chip, he's our director of sales, a shout out. He told me that he came from UPS. He's like, we had a lot of pretty dashboards and pretty reports, but what we really needed were decision boards. It's like we didn't have any decision boards. We had these pretty reports. They meant nothing. I couldn't make a single decision off of them. So just agree with you on the importance of that.
Yeah. Speaking of that, real quick, often people try to solve that WES, WMS, and different systems and problems by doing what I call as an hardwiring analogy. They try to make it work for that moment, but you cannot go back and touch it in future.
Right.
You're scared to touch it because no one knows what that wire is going from where and what's going to happen, right? That's like, it's working, nobody wants to touch it. So it's like that, which is like a real bad way of looking at the problem because somebody has short-sighted the challenge and then failed to look through the bigger picture and thinking that I'm going to have 10 more wires in future, which is going to come into the same exchange of data, right? That's when, as you mentioned, orchestrations, like we have a platform, integration platform called Harmony. the Harmony platform is designed for this challenge. It is from day one, it is designed to have a clear visibility of what the sending system is, in what format it is sending in, and what format it got translated to whom and to whom all. Clear audit of that, EDI exchange, JSON, API, all those calls are completely. And then to your decision board or decision action come in, we started with that, and then we started enabling certain actions which can be done through this platform. Meaning, if there is an ASN sitting and you wanted to create an appointment from an ASN, or you have a PO and you want to create an ASN from the PO, some of that actionable activities can be enabled through the platform. So it's beyond visibility. That's what the Harmony is meant for. And then Harmony is kind of feeding into our ship plan AI, which is doing all the optimizations, planning, and all that. Again, that's for a different topic for a different day, but that's how even we started addressing that challenge and the gap, and then from Harmony to ship plan AI and design.
Yep.
Yeah, software's long been one of it's been the solution that's hardest to put in on paper, to define, to get an answer to. And I've always looked at software as you really got three different legs of it. If you got the product itself. So I think products, I don't want to say it's easy, but product, here's your messaging, here's your computing power, here's your logic behind it. You got product. And then you've got the ability, see my noise is coming back a little bit now, but you've got the customization side of the product. And a lot of companies, some figure that out well, some don't figure it out well, at least in my 25 plus 26 years experience. But I think the key piece to any software I've been associated with has been the person or the people behind it. And, I think that's why it's so hard. You can have, I've dealt with Manhattan too. They've got a fabulous product, right? They're a tier one. They solve a whole lot of problems. But the product isn't the only piece of Manhattan. You've got some that's very much customized and modular, and just that, it's, you get into it and you get people's like, well, what software do you got? And it's like, I don't even recognize it anymore. It's like a zombie version of it. It's like a Manhattan Z or an SAP Z is what we say sometimes. But I've also been part of a good team and a bad team at Manhattan. So I've had the A team and the C team, and you were there long enough, Mansoor. I don't care how good of a company you are, when you get that elements, the product, the customization, and the people, and you get to the scale they are. But I think that's where a niche like your company can come in. And you're not going to solve everybody's problem. You're not going to be the best cultural fit. You're not going to be the best people fit, the best, maybe subject matter expertise fit. But you are for a lot of companies, and that's an invaluable partner. I mean, we've already connected you with a few of our relationships, and you walked in and you filled a space and you filled a void that maybe the Manhattan couldn't, that maybe the Blue Yonder couldn't, maybe the Salteon couldn't. And it's not because they're not good products. It's just your specialty. You're good people. You're smart. You can solve. You've seen a lot. I'm super rambling on it, but it's like I wanted to make the point that you come back to software is like, to me, it's always been the people. It's been the subject matter experts and the ability to articulate what the functionality needs to be. And it's been less about who's behind the scenes coding it and what the product does and how customized it is. It's like the people that attach it to the MHE. In our case, I think we do that really well. We understand how software needs to behave for the system that we're designing, based on throwing in the operational style or the operational capabilities or whatever of the customer that we're working with.
So rightfully said, Jim, like, the culture aspect of it is like, if you go as a software provider thinking that I know every use case of the customer and this is the software, use it, it's kind of enforcing your knowledge. You may be good. You might have covered 60-70% of the actual use case, but there are that 30% of more, which is a tribal knowledge of the customer, of their core business, which you as a software provider cannot think through and solve it ahead of time. What we do is we acknowledge that aspect. We knew that we can never solve all the 100% of the use cases. We go with the bare minimum 50-60% of the use case as our solution, but we keep our hooks and options in place to work with the customer to add that customization piece by design. So when I deploy the solution, it's already having the hooks for or room for the customization to understand the unknown use case, which is exclusively known to the customer, to the industry, to their business problem, to their operations, to their culture. So we go with that open mind, deploy our applications, work with the customer, as you said, people work with the customer and understand the rest of the requirement, and we fill in that gap on top of our core based design. And that's big differentiator where when you take the bigger flagship, they just say, this is what it is, use it. If you want to change any custom, it's going to cost you this much and it's going to be complex. It's going to be turned into a zombie and out of support and all that thing. So we don't go on that route at all. We go on a custom approach because we understand that customer is the one who's going to know the business better than anybody else.
And I think that's where your company can step. That's where we step in. Ultimately, we want to be a trusted advisor. We want to help understand and ask the right questions to understand what challenges or problems are in place. And then a lot of times we can come back with solutions that we think can help those challenges versus, some software companies approach it as I'm a product and you'll use my product and then you conform to me versus us conform to you. And I know both sides of it, but I think it opens up a market for people like us in a service base that can be trusted advisors and really help people on their journeys. Yeah. And really going back to, again, we said our purpose was, right, it's bigger than just writing code. It's bigger than putting in a piece of conveyor or racking. At the end of the day, it's when we talk about making an impact and when we talk about leaving a positive impact on people, it's the lens at which I look it through, and you can too, is we're not putting in a conveyor. We're putting in a piece of conveyor that's going to get a product to a patient, that's going to get a product to, maybe a kid that's sitting on a physician's table that needs it.
Yep.
That's getting that some newlywed couple's first furniture that's coming in, that's getting a desk that's going to have a bunch of our future generation of children sitting around it that's learning from it. And so it's like, you can say, I heard this once in a book that I read. It's like you can say what you do, but ultimately what you do can be looked at through a different lens and the experience that you're giving out. And to me, that's where our purpose comes to life is we're trying to tell that story. I'm going to try to tell the story a little more. Is it's like, we're not just putting in rack. We're helping build facilities that are going to protect our nation and our democracy and our freedom. One of the customers we're working with, we're educating our children. We're sending stuff to people that need it, that need healthcare, and we're helping people have those special moments with, their wedding and their first whatever they buy together. So
adding to that, Jim, the way how we look at it is exactly like how you just mentioned. But beyond that, because of this engagement, because of such deployment, because of that business, we are also creating opportunities for people who are deserving some such jobs, deserving some such breakthroughs, right? So that's one way how you just mentioned, but because of that business, we are indirectly or sometimes directly creating opportunities for people. So as an entrepreneur, one of the biggest passion I started enjoying, frankly speaking, is that when we started growing, when we started creating opportunities for other folks, when we started expanding our team, and then the enjoyment they started getting, the benefits they started getting from the business, what we have initiated, it just unexplainable. It's just that, wow, okay, it's like telling somebody how to catch the fish versus feeding them with what they needed. So we are doing, as you mentioned, creating those opportunities is a bigger thing, and then the passion to continue that, and that becomes the motivation or the reason to grow the business, and and serving more customers, and creating more opportunities.
Absolutely. Well, I've enjoyed our journey we've taken with. We normally have a fun little question at the end, and I'm going to go off script a little bit because I feel like you might have one of these stories. Knowing that you were in Bentonville, Arkansas for 6 years, and knowing how some of the times I've spent in the warehouse. So what's your toughest project or toughest week or longest day or tell us a good story about where the system you were working on and you ended up pulling a 48-hour day, or you worked an entire week to get something done or something. What's one of your biggest challenges that you faced, and maybe a fun story from your days in Bentonville?
I don't know whether that's fun story or not, but yeah, I can say that it's
It's a good memory now, right? It may not be, you may not want to repeat it, but it's a good memory now.
yeah, definitely it's a good memory and it's useful memory, like, and it was a useful day. So our very first, I mean, Manhattan, like, working in Manhattan, like, and it was like everything was like, on the top of your career at that point of time. So Walmart and Manhattan had signed up for many long-term, many years contract, but their very first go live was under my deployment at that time as a technical guy. Okay. So we did, like, it's about 6, 8 months. I forgot the duration, but 6, 8 months of work, rigorous, a lot of challenge, because that product was never installed outside the premises of Manhattan until that day. That was the first time it's coming out. So, long story short, we had a weekend of outage or weekend of go live plan, starting from Friday morning all the way till Sunday evening. So it's not even weekend. It's a Friday working day, Saturday and Sunday, and it was like close to about 72 hours of stretch complete to make the whole journey go through. Where we had shifts planned to take some naps, but trust me, sleep wasn't coming with that thing going on, with that issues with the server startup, because we had a clear cutoff that it has to go live by that time. If not, it's going to take another 2, 3 months of delay, and then that could be even overall relationship impact between those two companies, and the various other factors which was there. And it wasn't easy, it was extremely challenging. And even though we spent 6, 8 months in preparing for it, planning for it, there were challenges which we faced only that particular weekend, where we became creative and we addressed it right there. Like, it's not something which we prepped. So it just happened on the spot. We put on the spot, and then thankfully we were able to come out of it. And something which happened probably around 2005ish, I would say, but it's still so fresh in my memory. I can still see who are all sitting, how their faces were, what kind of challenges we faced, and how did we overcome and all that. So
Did we
that
sleep in the warehouse, or did we get any sleep?
Oh, it was, luckily it was in the ISD. It was in the IT building, so it wasn't a warehouse. But
I got you.
Knowing Walmart, they convert a warehouse into an IT building. So they don't build an IT building; they take a warehouse and they convert that. So it's a warehouse, but IT building. It's a little different story there. Yeah.
Gotcha. I'm gonna do one more fun thing. Jake's gonna cut me off here. I can't see him, but he's smiling or snickering at me now. It's like, we've been in America now, if I got my numbers right, about 20 years, right? Did I hear that right? We landed in Boston in 2004.
Yeah.
We're 2024. So about 20. Favorite American sport, favorite American city, favorite American food. I feel like you're an American now, so just
Yeah.
let's see.
Yeah, I'm an American. I participated in the previous elections and looking forward for the upcoming too. Okay. With all the story. Yeah. So favorite sport, I would say, like, still say baseball, because my favorite sport is cricket.
I was
Okay.
going to say, are you off of cricket yet? No, so baseball. Okay.
The baseball, I would say, but I tried golf one time, and then the guy who was coaching me, he just said, within a few seconds, he just came back and asked me, "Do you play cricket?" I say, "Yes," because with the way how I was holding the stick and my foot movement and everything, he already know that I play cricket. So yeah, so baseball, I would say it's really real close to cricket, so I like that sport. City wise, I still like Dallas for some reason. Dallas would have been,
It's a good city.
if it
Yeah.
wasn't for Manhattan Associates as the Atlanta, and then we would have opted Dallas. We still like Dallas as a family, so we love that city for some reason. But we just, every time we go there, we like it. And then what was the third thing? Sport, food. Yeah, food.
Food.
To be frank, like, not much. I mean, I still prefer the Mediterranean and Indian style food. Like, I tried few burgers. I've tried the barbecue style. Like, one of my previous boss, my friend, and everything. He's from Texas, and then he bought the kind of a halal meat, which I use, like, more like a kosher. So he did a barbecue in southern style. That's probably the one, and the last time I tried, that was the best. So the southern style barbecue, if I get to taste with the kind of meat I wanted, I would say that's the best.
Gotcha. I did try all my food, almost all the food when I went to India, and I would say I'm a super picky person. Like I'm not real adventurous on the food. So Jordan was proud of me, but
I was impressed. You ate. I mean, you were there for a total of like 4 days.
Yeah.
You lasted a solid day and a half to 2 days. Then you were just done. You still didn't eat anything, but you ate pretty much everything in front of you. And I didn't know what it was. You didn't know what it was because we weren't ordering the food. So
no.
I was impressed. I was proud of you.
Yeah. They got Mansoor, though. Then we're done, Jake. I promise. They got to the night. Like, I've been eating and trying these different things all day, which is it's pretty big for me. I don't normally do that. I just I know what I like to eat.
Yeah,
I'm very utilitarian about food. It's like I just eat it. It's not on my bucket list to go try foods and do this and good cuisine. And so by that night, we're with the Adverb leadership. And one of I guess it's the CEO was there with us, and they just kept trying this. And I'm like, I'm done. Yeah, I'm done. I shut down. I closed shop and said, I'm done. I'm not trying anything else. I'm done.
Yeah. But culturally, it doesn't matter whether you're done or not.
They just kept. They will
still force you. They will still put it. That's part of that. Like, it's like, especially when there is a guest, when there is a visitor from a culture side, it doesn't matter whether that guest or the visitor is saying enough. Just like the host will say, no, you have to take more. You have to try this. You should try this. Have this more. So that's just the normal.
Hospitality was
like
it was very hospitable. Yeah, or hospitable.
Yeah. So even in the restaurant, even with the family, it's going to be the case. You're going to find it.
Yeah.
Well, Mansoor, I've enjoyed it, man. Appreciate it. Thank you much. You're an interesting guy. If anybody out there, you're still with us, want to reach out, we'll have in the show notes how you can get in touch with Cloud Supply Chain Solutions. And if you're looking for a trusted advisor and a partner that can help you on your journey, consulting or some custom code or anything in between, Mansoor and CSCS are some really good people that we would recommend to you all to have a conversation with. So thank you again, my friend.
Thank you for having me for that introduction. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.